Welcome to Operation Valkyrie. This is Tom, and this will be the mixing of the Conspirators. As you can tell, I have everything leveled to 0 on this, all across the board. There are no effects except for the reverb channel, because it's the reverb channel, and everything else is leveled to 0. This is my noise meter that I use when I feel like I'm getting close to clipping, or I get my red indicator over there. I check it out, my noise meter, and I check out my noise meter and see what's really happening. This is what my tracks look like. You know, you got your guitars and vocals, and down here are my the drum tracks. Everything's all tightened up. That's not what we're here for today. Today, we're here for the mixing. So let me give you a little preview of what this sounds like with no mix. Let's see. Let's check it out. Well, as you can see, that is something of a mess. First thing I'm going to do is take these guitars and pan them left and right, because that's how I had it planned. It's the same guitar, goes panned left and right. Next thing is the bass is always meant to be fuzz, so I'm going to look for my fuzz face here and slap it on there. Now that that's on there, this bass track is a lot louder than it was. Okay, redlined almost immediately. So we're gonna have to drag that down significantly. I like to for something like this, I'll start at -5 and leave it there and see how it sounds in the context of the mix. Okay, redline right over. That's great. It's beautiful. I love it. Since we're doing that, keeping the clean bass as well, and you should be able to hear it. Although it's not very loud. And as you can see the difference in the levels here, it's almost completely lost. So what I'm doing, I'm going to bump this up 3 decibels, which is twice as loud. The difference of 3 decibels is twice as loud. So what I'm going to do, since it's going to be in there and you can hear it, I like to get just the purity of the bass. So I'm going to knock off the high end. Boop, just like that. And now when it does show up in your subwoofer, it's pure bass. Other thing I'm planning on doing, since we're talking about the bass, I've got this this send from the kick drum to bus 5. And we're going to carve out some space in that heavy bass guitar with a compressor and limiter. Let's get the key input. We're going to assign it to bus 5. So when the kick drum comes, it pulls back on the bass. Now, I already have a setting for that. You can see on the screen there what the settings are for my bass kick side chain. So yeah, let me pick a good spot here so you can see what it's doing and how much it's being pulled down. It's not a lot. I mean, it's not a whole lot at all. Let me open this back up. Boop, and now you can see it. Watch. Okay, it's pulling it down anywhere between 3 to 4 dBs every time that kick drum hits, just to carve out that little bit of space so that the kick drum is audible, but the bass is still there. And I don't touch the dry bass because I don't need to. It's not that loud. Next thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to throw some EQ on the drums. I have a go-to that I do. Here, there's some presets for the drums, and I like to do this a certain way. I've messed with these drums a lot. I don't know why I split this to drum 1 when the drum 2 is the right one. But anyway, I'm going to kick that down, that mid-frequency. I'm going to kick that back down to 750 instead of going back to drum 2 because I'm very stubborn. In any case, these are the, I'll pull up the bass and pull up the treble and Alright, so that's an appreciable difference. I turned up the soul, the heavy Ibanez there in the middle. I pulled that up, and since this mix it's a fairly loud mix, so I'm going to push these vocals unfiltered. I really don't need it that much because my voice is loud, but when it's loud, it's terrible. So I have some things that I do to it. I got a 7-band EQ here. I have a set point that I found for myself, Voxes. That's what I call it. You can see it cuts out all the low shit that doesn't need to be there. And these 2 areas are the pleasant areas of my voice. And this is the nasal nasty shit. Right at 882 is my my thing. I'm gonna tighten this up here a little bit because you boost fat and you cut narrow. So let me tighten that up just a little bit. And you see on the end the blue that got the quote unquote professional sheen. I set that up. It took me some time to figure this out for myself, especially this area here, this nasal area, because I have sometimes an unpleasant voice. I pull that down a bit. And the next thing we do is some compression on my voice so that it keeps it more and more level. Now there's a set point in here. You can see it's called vocal leveler, but I don't use that one. I use my own. And that's what that looks like. And now, instead of doing that to everything, I just copy it from track to track. And that's taken care of. This is for the reverb. Bus 1 and 2 is the reverb. And there that is. Right there is the input. You see these drums all go to bus 3 and 4. And that, so when I EQ the drums, I just EQ one thing instead of all of them. And it saves on my processor time. I used to do that with vocals, but I don't do it anymore. I'm going to bump this lead a little bit. That's probably too much. Let's see how much, if at all, that needs to be bumped. It needs to be bumped, but let's see. Let's just see. Mana. Oh, here we go. Yeah. detail is what I need. Not the clarity, the detail. I need the detail. It's got too much scoop, so I'm going to take out a little bit of the scoopage here. It's still not quite loud enough. You can hear that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this down a little bit, and I'm going to do the bump over here. That way when I bypass, you can get a cumulative effect of what's hoping to happen. That's better, right? So the next thing here is, this says MT2. I leave little notes for myself, so I think I maybe put an effect on my voice here. So I don't need these if there's an effect on my voice. And now I'm not sure, so let me take a look. God damn it. Empty, 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 all the way to the end. And look, there's no effects on any of that. What is the deal? Yeah, that's just a fade in singy bit, so I didn't need to undo that. So let me redo what I did. Yay, and it's back to normal. And then I'm going to clear this out so I don't fool myself next time I come to look at it. These are a little loud. I mean, right here, these are the settings that I used on my outputs, and this is low Vox and high Vox, and that one doesn't say anything, but it's higher than the high. I think I'm going to bump these up a little bit because the symbols. C2 is the quiet symbols. This is a quiet symbol grouping that I do when I separate the drum tracks in Easy Drummer and FL Studio. C2 is the group of quiet cymbals. C1 is the group of loud cymbals. So C2 needs a bump. You know what? These guitars are maybe a little loud. I had to push up the single guitar in the center channel, so I might pull these down. Red, that's why I go to here. That's at minus 15 is the 0 point, and you can see it's pretty high, but minus 6 is 0 point. I got a lot of headroom left, even if it says it's clipping. It's not really clipping. If I pop this over to 0 as my 0, it gets even lower. Bloop. This is RMS though. This is a root mean squared, which is a way of looking at a wave as a kind of like an average.
Therapy plans to topple a man who misled people and betrayed land. Conspiracy men, wait for when the moment.
The vocals come in and it pops up a little more. This is what the peak is. You can see it's way up there. But when I shift my 0 reference to 0, it's really not that bad. And I know it shows it's going into the red, but there's no clipping happening. So I'm not that worried about it.
They need something bold.
I don't know if it's just a quirk of Pro Tools or what, but there's more headroom than it looks like.
We plots on the game, driven by shame. So all of the futures will not us his name.
Conspiracy. Intrigue. Conspirators.
Trust no one, trust no one.
Yeah, I'm bringing these down a little bit. And all the noise passes. And here's a quiet part. And it's quiet, but it's not hard to hear or anything.
Here is the plan I promised you. It's called Valkyrie. Combats insurgents and rebellion. Shows them all our strength to see.
All right.
Well, that was Mixing Conspirators, mixing it from scratch. It went pretty well, I think. And I seem to have figured out the sound and video. That was fun. And if you're interested in how that worked out, just let me know, and I'll walk you through what the stupid things that I had to do to make it work. In the end, though, that is how I plan to mix the rest of the songs. I'm probably just going to follow the same, more or less, settings as a starting point, because that song, Conspirators, is pretty representative of how the rest of the album sounds. There's going to be a couple other songs, especially later, the quieter songs, that are going to require a different touch, but like I said, it's a good starting point, and I don't see there being very much problems. I don't think this is going to be an entire phase. This must be the one video, and that's it. I don't know what I'm going to do after this, because as we've mentioned, I'm shooting from the hip. I have no idea what I'm doing. And I have no idea what I'm doing next, so stick around and find out. For Operation Valkyrie, Phase 5, if there is a Phase 5, this was Mixing Conspirators. And thanks. I'll see you some other time.